Trauma, toxic stress, broken habit, and hurting heart don't define destiny, but peace isn't passive. It requires an exchange. To create a flip and access peace in the middle of the pieces, you are challenged to make an exchange of the lies that have kept you mentally hostage in basement moments. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Living Strong, the flip side of adversity, brings powerful stories and fearless conversations from experts in the field of business, relationships, emotional, physical, and mental health, and faith-based communities. Each episode creates a brave space with powerful tools from authentic connections. Tune in as we dig in with Dr. Jackson on the flip side of adversity. Hey fam, Dr. Veirdre Jackson here, CEO and creative of Living Strong Consulting. Welcome to the flip side of adversity. You already know how we do things over here. On the flip side, we actually create a flip into strategy. We turn pain into purpose and trials into tools to rise higher. And tonight, it's not going to be any different. I'm flying solo, but this isn't just an episode. It's actually a moment. We're wrapping up season 15. But don't get it twisted. This isn't an ending. It's actually a preparation. Because before you can rise, you've actually got to get rooted. And that's it. So tonight, as we wrap up season 15, I want us to talk about what do roots have to do with rising. So I'm going to be taking the summer off, and I'm using that time to really dig my roots into preparation for strategy, for explosion, for expansion in the fall. But I know I'm talking a lot about roots. What do roots actually do for a tree when we're talking about producing fruit? I know a lot of people talk about how roots address stability. And I agree. Roots do anchor the tree to the ground. It keeps it stable during the storm. It holds it steady in high winds, in harsh conditions. Yes, you are right. Without strong roots, even the tallest tree can topple. But did you know that strong roots also nourish the growth of the tree? Roots feed the tree so that it can grow, it can thrive, and bear fruit. So we're talking about digging your roots in, not only for stability, but for nourishment of your dream, of your goal, of your assignment. But did you also know that the roots are there for storage? Roots store energy that actually sustain the tree during dry, tough seasons. I know I've been navigating a lot of different changes, landscapes. I've been talking to clients that have had to address dry desert attacks to funding, uncertainty, fear. Did you know that roots address storing your energy for those depleted seasons? And roots, they address and stabilize for expansion. Roots often extend far beyond what we see of the tree above ground. Roots silently grow and expand out and strengthen the tree's foundation over time. Is there anyone out there ready to expand? You want to expand, but did you know that your root system needs to expand beyond where you currently are to prepare you for the legacy reach? For what's happening below the surface is connected to your roots. So, as we dig into this conversation, how does all of this apply to us? To those of us who want to live out a full assignment, who want to walk in purpose, who want to be free, to be all that you have been designed to be. How does this apply to you? In life, your roots are your foundation, your faith, your discipline, your community, your values, and your mindset. Without your roots, you're unstable. One setback and you will fold. Shallow roots will limit your nourishment. You'll hustle, but stay depleted. Deep roots, you stand strong in the storms, you grow through the pressure, and you thrive with sustainability. So that's why I picked this topic for this episode, because I'm getting ready to end what I can't believe is 15 seasons of Flipside Conversations. But I don't want to think about this as ending something, but this is actually a moment in time where we can dig deeper into intentionality. How are you going to use your summer for preparation? This episode is talking about you can't rise high if your roots don't run deep. And so I'm going to be using this summer to dig deep into my root system. Let's talk about building stability and sustainability. That you need in order to grow, because anybody can rise. But without the right root system, everybody with shallow roots will fall. So it's not just about rising. It's about how stable are you to stay standing. I'm inviting you in. And if you're on social media, I'm inviting your questions. But let's talk about rooted in order to rise. So settle in. I'm going to be honest about my own journey. I want you to lean in and let's talk about some lessons, some livable action steps, and let's get into why roots are necessary before you rise, regardless of what you are trying to achieve. So I have to be transparent as I start this conversation. I'm talking about me. I know I'm live internationally, but I'm talking about me. And if there's any opportunity for me to be transparent, to be able to serve others, then I'm going to do it. These are things that I've learned in this season, where as I continue to walk in purpose and desire to rise, when I have to recognize that when things have been hard, I have found myself being shaken. I was out here hustling, overcommitting, saying yes to everything and everyone. Can I get an amen from anybody? If you're on social media, give me an amen in the comment section. Has anybody tried to outrun the fear or the thought that something's going to run out, so you grind and hustle harder? My soul was running on fumes. Has anyone else been there? Am I the only one? I know I can't possibly be alone. But here's how I knew my roots were shallow. And I'm just inviting you to check your roots too. If you are someone who, when someone's opinion can wreck your whole mood, shaky roots. If your calendar is so packed and your cup is empty, oh, shaky roots. If you're pouring into everybody but resisting and you are exhausted behind the scenes, you already know, I've said it a couple of times already, it's a sign of shaky roots. If your identity is tied to your title, your productivity, your applause, but not your purpose, yeah, it's a sign of shaky roots. So as I have in this season been forced, let me be honest, been forced to lean into grace over grind, to lean into a pace of grace. It has reminded me of Jeremiah 17:7-8. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots. They do not fear when heat comes. Their leaves are always green. See, real roots, they don't panic when pressure comes. They don't break when the heat rises. That's being rooted. That's sustainability. My prayer partner, Esther, and I pray every morning at 7:30. And our conversation has been about how do I stay stable and trust and faith that I don't have to see everything the way I thought it would be planned in order for me to believe that I'm still living on purpose. So can I give you some practical check marks to just check in on you? Can you say no without guilt? Can you rest without feeling unproductive? Can you encourage yourself when applause from other people are missing? Can you pivot without falling apart when plans shift? Esther and I have been holding each other accountable in this season, especially in a season when you thought a plan was going to be one way and you look up and it doesn't look anything like what you thought it would look like. That's actually not the time to allow your tree to shake and tremble. It's actually the time to look at your roots. If you hesitated or gave me the side eye as you had to answer any of those questions, listen, that's not shade, it's self-awareness. And awareness is a step forward in growing deeper roots. We're not doing surface level growth anymore. We're not building castles on sand anymore. We're actually building foundations that last, that are connected to legacy. So signs that you're not rooted, there's no shame here. I'm not talking just about you. As I shared earlier, I'm just telling you what I've had to learn for myself firsthand. And if you're a part of Girlfriend Gathering and you haven't registered yet, you have one day left. And the image of Girlfriend Gathering will pop up on the screen to remind you that our theme for this season is from seed to strategy. So girlfriends, when you are getting ready for Saturday, I want you to know that the entire Grace Over Grind season and the 30-day challenge this month was all about exposing shallow roots. So as the image for Girlfriend Gathering pops up on the screen, if you want to be able to dive deeper into this conversation, I'm just giving you the precursor to what we're going to be talking about on Saturday. We are going deep into our root system. Zakia Boone is going to be talking about how do you develop the growth and recognize what you've come over and how you will be intentional in setting the course, as this is our last Girlfriend Gathering for 2025. And Esther is going to walk us through, how do you take care of the blossom? See, grinding is not your inheritance. It's actually your liability. So we spent 30 days unpacking what can happen when you replace grinding with grace. If you're leaning into grinding, you stay in a burnout cycle, serving, working, grinding, but there's no peace. There's no joy. You're constantly chasing approval. Your worth depends on people clapping for you. Financial instability. You're making moves, but still living check to check with no plan. I want a little bit of credit from Minister Aranissa Harris as she taught us in Grace Over Grind the mindsets of grinding. Emotional imbalance. One text, one setback, and your whole mood crumbles. Grinding mindset. Listen, I've been there. I had to hold myself accountable. But here's the good news. Awareness is the first step. You can't heal what you won't confront. And I want to grab this message from Lale Flowers. If you're on social media, she just posted, in this season of chaos, it is so important to have a girlfriend hold you accountable, to remind you of who you are in Christ, to help you stay rooted and grounded in the truth of God's word. Lale Flowers is coming for it. She is here for the all of it. And so this is about us holding one another accountable. As I said, you can't heal what you won't confront. And confronting where you're unstable, that's actually opportunity. That's where the real growth begins. So let's get into the tools, because you know I'm all about the strategy. So one, consistent spiritual practice. That's a non-negotiable. Meditation, sitting in the word, it keeps your soul anchored. Clarity and purpose. You can't rise if you don't know what you are rising for. Setting boundaries. Protect your peace like it is your paycheck. Every opportunity isn't yours. Let me say that again. Protect your peace like it's your paycheck. Every opportunity is not yours. So recognize what's for you is for you. You won't have to chase it down. You won't have to wrestle it to the ground. Recognize your peace is your inheritance. And how do you activate that peace? In our 30-day Grace Over Grind challenge, it was all about daily disciplines, your small habits, your consistent routines that sustain your dreams, that you wake up with intention setting opportunities, that you're journaling, that you're connecting your mind and body with movement, that you're tapping into gratitude. If you've been a part of the girlfriend gathering, you know we explored a morning meeting with God framework. God didn't design us to do life alone. And girlfriend gathering has allowed us to consistently stay connected. Ruth had Naomi. David had Jonathan. And Jesus had the disciples. And so for you, you need the right circle as well. So let me say this. Not everyone who's around you is assigned to build you. Some folks are assigned to actually distract you. Some folks are assigned, believe it or not, they are there to drain you. But your circle, your sister circle, they are assigned to align with you. So let me help you get clear. How do you find that circle? Well, it's actually an opportunity to pay attention to your peace. The right circle should add to your peace, not snatch it out of your hands. You know, those people, the people after one conversation you feel poured into, clear-headed, like your soul got a recharge, that's the clue. That's your circle. Watch their fruit, not just their words. What are they producing? When you are around them, how do they challenge you in your journey to producing fruit? Not just a little bit of fruit, but fruit in abundance. If their life reflects growth, accountability, consistency, they're cultivating good soil. If it's chaos, drama, constant survival mode, that's not your circle. That's actually just an example of a cycle. Test for truth tellers in your circle, not just cheerleaders. The real ones love you enough to correct you. You need folks who'll celebrate your rise, but also check your roots. Accountability is actually love. So find your faith-aligned folks and check your community. Are they watering your growth or draining your energy? Are they clapping for your rise or quietly rooting for your fall? Building roots means aligning with people who challenge you, who cover you, who hold you accountable. Your environment matters. And so for me, a community that has done that over and over again are my WOW sisters. When I tell you, those of you who have been in Girlfriend Gathering know my love for Lady Dale. She has poured into hundreds of women around the country. No, thousands of women around the country. And so if you want to know why WOW is because that's an opportunity to get around fruit-bearing, deep-rooted women who will hold you accountable and lift you. So I want to just pause a moment and give you a clear image of why WOW. Let's take a look.
Have you heard the news about the Women of Wellness, especially the WOW conference that takes place September the 10th to the 13th, 2026? So many people have been asking, what is WOW and why WOW? So glad you asked.
Because the God we serve did not die, get buried, snatch death out of the hand of the enemy, rise up with full power in his hand for you. you to live broken.
Life is just so stressful, and we have so many responsibilities and roles as women. So to be here is just really encouraging to remind us that we're here for a purpose and to keep striving to get it done.
WOW has been a lifeline for me. When I first came to WOW, I came kicking and screaming. I didn't think that I was worthy of anything. And I came through the door, and God met me at the door.
No, you're fine. Okay.
Because that's what this is.
Women of Wellness Sisters, why? Wow! Because you are not alone. God sees you, and so do we. Join your community of sisters who are building a sisterhood community. September the 10th to the 13th, 2026, Crown Plaza Hotel, King of Prussia, PA. Let's get in position. Change is required. We can't get better unless we know better. Don't miss registration. Go to the website wowwomenofwellness.com. And remember, we may not have it all together, but together, my sisters, we will have it all.
Can I say anything more? wowwomenofwellness.com. So when we're talking about diving deep and getting roots that stabilize, nourish, provide, store energy, it's connected to who you are connected to. And when you're connected to faith-fueled sustainability, it's an opportunity for you to be in a circle that will hold you accountable and help you prioritize your mental health. Because if your mind isn't well, your mission cannot thrive. You can't pour from empty, anxious, overwhelmed vessels. So protecting rest and listening. Rest isn't a reward for finishing your to-do list. Let me say it again. Rest is not your reward for finishing your to-do list. Rest is a requirement, period. Even God rested on the seventh day. And last time I checked, he runs the universe. So sis, gent, rest is a responsibility. And when you are aligning yourself with God's timing, not people's expectations, you can't let the pressures of other people and their deadlines make you miss divine timing that can come from resting your mind and allowing your thoughts to have space to grow. All right, I'm getting ready to step on some toes. Burnout isn't noble. Boundaries are. Chaos isn't purpose. Clarity is. And let me add this. Consistency is sustainability's best friend. You don't have to do all the things, but you do have to do the right things consistently. Who is your accountability partner? What is your consistent ritual? How do you create a routine that connects with not only your habits, but your nervous system? Sustainability looks like saying no without a 5-paragraph explanation. My girlfriend and good sister friend, Crystal Mans, will say no is a whole sentence and accept my anointed no. Schedule rest like you schedule a meeting. Moving when God says move, not when comparison shouts at you from social media. Because hear me, temporary success from hustling culture will have you rising fast but falling hard. Grace culture, that's rooted, that's steady, that's fruit that actually lasts. We're not here to sprint and crash. We're actually here to build, grow, and sustain on purpose with peace. So, our next set of action steps for sustainable growth. Are you ready to actually take tangible action? So with that, I want you to find space, time, intention to actually write. Now, I know people say, I'm not a journaler. I don't journal. Okay, you don't have to write books and books, but there's something that happens in your brain when you actually write intention down. But not only intention, reflection. Both of those, when you write them down, you actually create neurological pathways that are new to rewire your truth, your belief systems, and create a pathway for new responses, reactions, and intentions. So I'm encouraging you, identify a space and time to write. And get honest with yourself. Ask yourself these questions. Where am I rooted now? Where am I rooted now? The second question, what areas of my life feel unstable? And the third, what new disciplines do I need to plant? So when we allow ourselves to recognize we actually can create space to rewire our truth, I just want to go over those statements, 3 questions again. Where am I rooted? Ask yourself. And get honest with you. What areas of my life right now feel unstable? And what new disciplines do I need to plant? When you give yourself the grace and the space to answer those 3 questions, and not only say them to yourself, but write them down, you're creating not just another conversation of a vision board, but you are beginning to create a roadmap for strategy. And after you have answered those 3 questions, written your responses down, then I want you to write 3 values that guide your yes and your no. I know we oftentimes hear so much about what are you saying yes to? Write down your values connected to your yes. But I want you to do both. Write down 3 values that will guide your yes and your no, so that you are releasing yourself from guilt when you say no, because you're clear about your anointed no. You are clear because that no is purposeful, because it does not align with your values. You're not chasing after everything. Remember, your peace is your paycheck, and everything that comes to you is not for you. So get clear on your 3 values that will guide your yes and your no. And practical routines. I know you are tired of me talking about this. I know, but it is literally just brain science. What's your morning routine? What are your tech boundaries? Yes, I said it. When do you actually turn the phone over and don't touch it? You create a boundary around your technology. What are your spiritual check-ins? How are you creating movement? These elements, your morning routine, your tech boundaries, your spiritual check-ins, and your movement, this is how you actually create stabilized roots before you try to scale to something bigger, scale to something broader. Without consistent rituals and routines in this season, you won't have the stability to be able to scale to something higher. I referenced it earlier. If you're a part of the girlfriend gathering, in our Padlet, I put the framework for your Mornings with God business meeting. It has been a game changer for me during these 30 days of Grace Over Grind. It literally has created the space for me to gain clarity, intentionality, and a rock solid routine that has created boundaries and buffers to being overwhelmed by the rigors and the races and the challenges and the barriers that will inevitably show up in my day. I have found that morning routine, that framework, that business meeting. There's a line in the business meeting where I say out loud, Lord, I am a steward, not a hustler. This is your day. Tell me where I should prioritize my time. When we are able to then establish those routines, let's identify ways to celebrate and charge forward. Listen, family, I'm not saying goodbye. I'm encouraging you to focus on preparation. I'm stepping away for the month of July this summer to refill. But know this, we don't rise by accident. We rise on purpose. When we are rooted deeply and anchored strong, we are actually built to last. If you haven't registered for a girlfriend gathering this Saturday, we are continuing this conversation this weekend with Zakiya and Esther. We're talking about from seed to strategy. There's 1 day left to register. But I want to just pause and say, I am grateful for 15 seasons of conversation, of growth, of real ones like you who continue to show up week after week, whether you came in on the live conversation or you have caught the replay and you contacted me to tell me how it's impacted you. I'm taking the summer off to dig deep into my root system. There are things that I believe are still connected to my growth plan, and I've got to dig deep into my root system so that I can rise. So let's stay connected. Let's stay grounded together. And when the next season comes, Sweet 16, We're rising with stability, sustainability, and unshakable joy. I'm going to take the summer off to get rooted before I rise. How are you going to work on your root system this season, this summer? This is the flip side of adversity. And I love all of you. And I will see you in August. Love ya.